Well, prominent human rights lawyer Beatrice Mtetwa arrested by Zimbabwean police. That arrest has been condemned by legal organizations in Africa. The organizations have labeled her detention as unlawful and alarming. After attempting to come to the rescue of her clients, whose property was being searched by police, Mtetwa had allegedly asked police to produce a valid search warrant when she herself was arrested. Joining us in studio is the National Director for Lawyers for Human Rights, Jacob van Garderen. A very good morning to you, and thanks again for joining us. When it comes to legal matters in Zimbabwe and the justice system there, is it a case of the more things change, the more they stay the same when it comes to the arrest of Beatrice Mtetwa?
I hope not, but we are very, very worried about the recent events that took place when Beatrice Mtetwa was arrested. So the whole legal profession in South Africa and indeed around the continent have condemned her arrest and indeed her ongoing detention. She spent a second night in detention despite a High Court order granted by the Zimbabwean High Court for immediate release. So we're very concerned, and we call on the Zimbabwean government really to take serious the charges leveled against them and to order her release and the other political activists who are currently held in detention.
Is this politically motivated? And I'll tell you why I ask this. The court order for her release is being defied, A, and B, her legal team is being denied access to her. So this is not in the interest of justice at all. Is this dirty politics, you think?
It seems to be pointing in that direction, yes. And Zimbabwe is at a very critical point in their history where last week they had a referendum about a new constitution that will signal a break from its undemocratic past and that will hopefully herald a new beginning that is based on the respect of human rights, the freedom of speech, and the ability of human rights activists and lawyers like Beatrice Mtetwa to, without fear of political reprisal, represent her clients before an independent court.
You just touched on the fact that this comes hot on the heels of that referendum which took place on Saturday. Many people would argue that in the previous constitution in Zimbabwe there were various laws that protected people and spoke of freedom of association, etc. But those laws were being flouted. What's the new referendum, the new constitution going to do differently? How is the implementation of those laws going to be adhered to?
Well, that's the crucial test, that the new constitution must take a living form, and that it must be protected by all the political institutions, in particular the police, and that they understand that they're no longer the hand puppets of one political party. But, you know, we all have a stake in Zimbabwe, in South Africa, in the region, and therefore it's crucial that SADC, the political mediators, take up this concern immediately with the ZANU-PF government, but also with the other political actors, to make sure that, you know, that there's a cessation in political harassment and political violence as we move into the election phase in Zimbabwe.
And what do you think your peers and the peers of Ms. Mtetwa can do to rally support for her at this stage? We know she's facing charges of defeating the ends of justice, obstructing the course of justice, to be exact there. What do you think her compatriots around the country can do to support her?
Well, our sister organization, Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights, is representing her and will represent her in court. And as lawyers, human rights lawyers around the region, we will support and be vocal about the importance of Mtetwa and other political activists to have a fair hearing, and for matters like this to be dealt quickly and fairly in front of an independent court.
And what do we know about when she will appear in court at the moment, and whether or not those charges can even stick when she does?
Well, we're not sure yet when she will be brought before a court, and that is part of the big concern. Our colleagues in Zimbabwe do not have access to her, and they struggle to take proper instructions, and therefore it is very important that to protect the rights of Ms. Mtetwa as well as other activists, that they are being treated in in accordance with the Constitution and in accordance with international human rights norms.
And that's the problem, isn't it? The lack of transparency. Is this a common occurrence when it comes to legal matters in Zimbabwe, do you think?
Unfortunately, there's a sad history of the judiciary not being able to provide or not willing to provide fair hearings to people brought on political charges. I think that there's been a sustained attack on the judiciary for many years. I think everybody was hoping that through the global political agreement and the adoption of a new constitution, that we will see a new era where there will be respect for human rights and where the independence of the judiciary will be respected. And that hope remains. And I think Zimbabweans deserve a better and a more democratic future.
Oh, thank you so much. And that hope remains. Thank you for your time. That was the National Director of Lawyers for Human Rights, Jacob van Garderen.